Welcome to A Conversation with Tobias by Lennox and Parker. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I decided to call this Conversation with Tobias.
Okay.
That's my middle name is Tobias.
Conversation with Tobias.
Yeah.
That sounds like a free slave. That sounds like Tobias made it to the promised land.
I like that.
You know what I mean? You know some slaves. Somebody was named Tobias.
Right?
You say, you know what I mean? I got a cousin named Tiberius.
Oh, okay. That's
you know what I
cool.
mean? So you know that nigga sound like a free slave.
Conversation with Tobias by Lennox and Parker.
That's right.
Featuring special guest O'Neal.
Yep.
Good to have you here with us today.
Man, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. After I saw Club Shay Shay and Cat Williams, I was like, man, everybody better start a podcast or something. Cause
this is episode 1.
Episode one. Episode 1.
Next level.
I'm not gonna air nobody out though, cause I'm like, shit.
Nah,
I know real killers.
We're not doing that in this podcast. This podcast is not about hearing people out. It's just getting to know you. That's why it's a conversation.
That's right.
We're gonna get to know who you are as a person and take it from there. You know, let the world meet O'Neal.
Man, welcome. This my little dojo right here.
Love it. Nice.
Built this pergola during the pandemic because it was like being cooped up in the house so much and kids and everything that was going on. I was like, I just needed a place that I could sit and clear my mind,
right.
and actually turned into a spot with myself, Nelson George, my boy Nathan, a friend of mine, Mark. He works over at Revolt TV. Oh my God, it just turned into like the spot where everybody felt kind of safe and comfortable and didn't feel like they were gonna get sick.
Right.
And you know, it was just air flowing and we were just talking, and it was around the time too. God bless the dead. My late cousin Andre Harrell had passed, and it was just really amazing to hear all the different stories that came from different people who knew him, who were friends with him, and worked with him. And you know, Nelson George, shout out to Nelson George, who's a dear friend of mine, author, producer, writer, legendary guy in this thing. And we really bonded and just talking about just his friendship with Andre and their journey. And it was just a beautiful thing. So, you know, being here right now and having this interview with you, and like I said, meeting you at the Beverly Center, going down the escalator, you coming up the escalator.
That was crazy.
It was just crazy. And then it was like a couple months later on the cover of your magazine. Now you're in my backyard. Now we talking, and it's 2024, and you know we about to have a good time.
Man, that's what a way to begin. What a way to start the year, right? You know, Andre Harrell. Going back to Andre Harrell, man. I remember being in high school, reading the back of the covers of the magazines of the record albums, stuff like that. Seeing Andre Harrell on there, Uptown, and and he paved the way. I mean, he set the bar.
Yeah, Andre, man, I tell people all the time, growing up in a small town like Lynchburg, South Carolina, there wasn't a lot of people that I wanted to be like.
Right.
And to have somebody in your family, your bloodline, paving the way he was paving the way was something truly extraordinary. I remember going to school and telling people, you know, my cousin produced Jodeci and Al B. Shore and Guy and Christopher Williams and all these different people. And they would look at me like I was crazy because, you know, I lived in Lynchburg, South Carolina. So the name is self-explanatory. It's the Sticks, you know. And so when you tell somebody or talk to somebody about something that's so far greater than where you're standing, they can't understand it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Michael Jackson got a cousin right now. He work at Walmart. Nobody's gonna believe it. You know what I mean? Let me see you do the moonwalk. You know what I'm saying? Everybody started from somewhere. Yeah. Andre's family started in South Carolina, and he moved to New York City, and that's where he exploded as a record exec, a producer, film producer, even as an artist at one time. So, you know, having to explain that to people was too much. I just knew I had to get on my hustle and figure out how to get to New York.
Can you share with us one story of Andre, like behind the scenes that nobody know about? Nothing explicit, but just, you know, because again, people see Andre on the covers of magazines, to see him, you know, Billboard, to see his name on executive this, executive that, but the person, you know, like.
And see, that's where people get things misconstrued a lot of times. People believe all the hype. There's a lot of narratives floating around about people. Yeah. I don't say because he's my cousin.
Right.
His mother and my grandmother, 2 sisters. He's my dad's first cousin. So there's a 15-year age gap between us. But Andre, he loved black people.
Right.
And, you know, I always used to tease him because he was like the Martin Luther King of the music industry. Like, he wanted everybody to win. He wanted to create a pie that was big enough for everybody to get a slice of it. And if you look at his background and the people he signed and the people he cultivated, the people he worked with, it was just about elevating black people to the next level and that next status. And I don't even think that's something that nobody didn't know about him. If you knew Andre and you knew Andre well, you knew how much he loved black people, he loved black culture, and how he wanted to make that mainstream and how we define the culture. He was always saying that, you know, we're the reason why Fifth Avenue is high. You know what I mean? We're the reason why Gucci and Louis Vuitton and how all these high-end designer brands are high. We make it high.
Right.
And it was just about for him owning the capital and building the IPs that we own and was able to then take it and flourish and just, you know, throw it out to the community.
You can tell because, you know, he's the first person I would say that started Versus. If you remember, like, he did Uptown Unplugged.
It was one of the first.
That's like I haven't seen anybody else do it but Andre.
Yeah.
That was done so at a high level.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard Jodeci singing for the first time. Like, uncut raw, live and direct in your face. And that was a really good, that's stuck in my DNA, I would say, coming up as a young person, because Uptown was the bar you wanted to get to. Everybody else was doing things, but he made it black excellent.
He made it black. He made black stylish.
Oh.
He made black fashion forward.
Yeah,
he made black cultural. He made black mainstream. He made black high end. He made black designer. Yeah. You know, when you look at a lot of record labels, you know, Barry Gordy did that. Barry Gordy elevated black people.
Right.
But Andre did it in such a Rolls Royce.
But the difference, the difference between Andre and Barry Gordy did it back in the 60s, right? And that was such a big gap. But Andre brought it to our time and made it so elegant and so touchable. You know, Barry Gordy was more like the music. Andre was more like the lifestyle and the music, but he embodied the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was really, like, to me.
You know, Andre is the ultimate lifestyle specialist. Shout out to my boy Kenny Burns, who's also a lifestyle specialist. But Andre is, you know, Andre paved the way for people like Kenny Burns.
True.
Paved the way for people like myself. Because Andre, like you said, you know, Motown. Andre wanted to mirror Motown by creating Uptown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Barry Gordy was his inspiration. Barry Gordy made black people elegant. You know what I mean? Black people are marketable, palatable for the white consumer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Andre wanted us to shine and wanted us to own that narrative and not have to play second fiddle to anything else.
Uptown. Shout out to Andre and his family. How's the son doing? By the way?
Gianni's doing extremely well. He works with Rich Kleiman.
Okay.
In the sports space. He also have a label situation where Universal.
Nice.
He has his own record label. He's looking for acts. So if you got any acts, which is at Gianni Harrell on Instagram, DM him, send him demos. I don't even know how that shit worked now. You know, back in the day, it was like you had a demo.
Yep.
You set up a meeting with an A&R exec, and you know, they like it. They take it to the president. Then you get signed. You get an advance, and then they start working on the album and getting the product manager and all that. Now it's like I don't know how that works. So you know, you millennials and Gen Zs figure that out.
Awesome. All right, O'Neal, we taking it a little back with you. So let's go, but let's just take it back a bit. When you first got to New York from
South Carolina,
and you got off the plane, bus, whatever you came on,
the Greyhound.
Give us a little bit of insight in your thought process as far as, okay, I'm here now. How do I get to the next level, or what do I do? Because I see the vision. I see the dream, and how do I achieve that?
I mean, for me, like I said, there has been a few people that's been the blueprint for me in my life. Michael Jackson first. Michael Jackson was a superhero before anybody else. Before we had Oprah, before we had Jay-Z, before we had Kanye, before we had anybody that you look at now, we always had Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was always there. He came before everybody. Before we had Barack Obama, we had Michael Jackson. So for me, for somebody to come from Gary, Indiana, and become the king of pop and become Michael Jackson, he started from an urban community first and became mainstream, became a superstar. So that became my narrative. And then to have somebody like Andre in my family to come up from humble beginnings of South Carolina, born in New York City, the Bronx, shout out to the Bronx. But to have that in close proximity, it's one thing to admire Michael Jackson. How you gonna get to him? You know what I mean? How you gonna get that information? You know what I mean? He never was seen in public. You know what I mean? You saw him at an award show with a monkey and a midget or whatever it was going on, a little person. Be PC, little people.
Little people.
Shout out to little people. When I got to New York City, my grand aunt, Aunt Mary Jane, God bless the dead, she was married to my grandmother's older brother. And she would come down during the summers and stay at my grandmother's. And she was staying down there. I had already talked to my parents and talked to Andre's mother, God bless the dead, Aunt Hattie, about allowing me to come up for like an extended weekend.
Right. And
my brother, rest in peace to my brother. So all these people I'm talking about who helped me get to where I'm at today, they all passed. And Mary Jane, who brought myself and my brother to New York City for the first time, she passed. My brother got killed in a motorcycle in 2007. My mom died in 2000. Andre's mother died in 2003. So it was like all the people that helped navigate me to this space, they all passed. So I remember, persuading my parents that I was going to go to New York for an extended weekend. They wasn't really for it because they was like, New York City fast life, just too much for a country boy like myself. But they don't realize I had already been plotting and scheming in my head that once that window is cracked for me to get to New York City, I'm out. I told my parents I was only going to New York for a weekend. I knew I wasn't coming back.
You're gonna come back.
You know what I mean? Wow. I packed a small little duffel bag, just enough clothes for a weekend.
You had it set up, planned already.
It was already planned.
Done, yeah.
When I got off that Greyhound bus, because that's when we were on, a Greyhound bus at Penn Station. Penn Station, Port Authority, whatever the one the buses come to.
Right.
I think it's Port Authority, maybe. Yeah, I think it's Port Authority where the buses actually come.
Right.
I remember just the smell of the city. And it was hot. The humidity from the city. I remember Andre's mother picking myself and my brother up in a stretch limousine. And I had never been in a limousine before. And I remember she had on like this little chinchilla throw. It was summertime. And I remember looking at her and I said, Aunt Hattie, it's hot out. Why you got this like chinchilla fur thing? She said, baby, get cold in the limo. And I was like, oh, I like that. I was like, ooh, I like that. I was like, this is where I belong. So she said, I know you guys had a long trip. She said, but we're going to go to Jersey, go freshen up, and then we're going to get on the road and we're going to go to the Hamptons. I didn't know what the Hamptons was, never heard of the Hamptons. She said, Andre just bought a house in the Hamptons.
Oh, man.
We went to the Hamptons. I remember getting there and ringing the doorbell and Russell Simmons opening the door. And I had just saw him 2 weeks ago on Def Comedy Jam.
What an introduction.
What an introduction. And I remember Russell opening the door and saying, hey, Andre, I think a messenger or somebody is here. Like I was delivering a package or something.
Right.
And Andre said, who? Andre's mother was like, it's me, it's Hattie. She came in the house. Andre came down. I remember Andre coming down the stairs. I can remember exactly what he had on. He had on a shirt similar to this. It was Lacoste, but it was the first time I saw that tiny Lacoste.
Right.
It wasn't like the regular size gator. It was like the tiny little gator in it. And he had on a Lacoste shirt. He had on like some khaki pants. He had on some Pro-Keds, canvas white Pro-Keds. He had on a solid gold Cartier watch. He had on like some gold frame glasses. And I remember he came down the stairs, and shortly after him walking down the stairs, who I didn't know then, who's now like my sister, Lori Ann Gibson, choreographer.
Yep.
He was dating her at the time.
Wow.
She came down the stairs and she had on a Lacoste polo style shirt, but it was long like a dress, like a tennis dress. Okay. And that was his girl.
Okay.
Heavy D was in the kitchen. Veronica Webb was in the kitchen. I looked up. Puff was coming down the stairs with Kim Porter.
Wow.
I was like, oh, everything that from TV to radio to fashion to style, everything that I had admired was under one roof at that very moment. And at that very moment, I knew at that point, like, I wasn't going back to South Carolina to live again. I would probably go back to visit.
Right.
But to live, there's no way.
Wow. That's amazing. All those people, Heavy D, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Porter, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Andre, rest in peace. Man, that's what a way to start. Coming to the city for the first time off that Greyhound. Wow. So now fast forward a little bit. Now you with your cousin Andre and you're working with him.
No, it wasn't like that at first. I was staying in Hackensack, New Jersey with his mother, Aunt Hattie, and I told my parents I gotta extend my trip because Andre's busy. I haven't had a chance to have a meeting with him yet. Right. You know, gotta keep in mind, I'm coming from South Carolina and I'm a sales rep at a textile company called National Dye. And we specialize in a 1.5, 1.0 hydrothane coating, and our clients were Eastpak backpacks, Duckhead, Converse, kids. So we coated the canvas sneakers and the backpacks and stuff for rain, heat, whatever. So I came professional because my grandmother told me before I left, she's don't go nowhere begging. If you can't show up and add something to the situation, don't show up. Don't show up at all. Yeah. So I came with my resume. I didn't come like I was getting ready to meet with my cousin. I didn't come like I was getting ready to meet with somebody who obviously was successful as he was. Right. I was coming to meet with somebody who had an opportunity for me, so I had to be professional. So when I finally got a chance, after probably like almost a week of being in New York, Andre's mother set up a meeting for myself and my brother to go meet with Andre. Right. And when we went to his office, Motown, it was 11 something Penn Plaza. And at this time, he's the president of Motown. And I go in there and I see him, and I can remember it was like these plaques, these awards, all these different various accolades. Picture him and Diana Ross, picture him and Barry Gordy, picture him and Stevie Wonder, picture him at the time who was cool to us, Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Yeah. All these different people. I'm like, oh my God, he's sitting there behind the desk, and he had on another variation of that Lacoste shirt. This time he had on a gingham check, small gingham check, style button-up shirt with the little gator right here, the whole thing. And I remember his assistant at the time was a young lady by the name of Noma Ogden Blake. His intern was somebody by the name of Nell Ply. And they were outside, and Nell was like the first like Spanish girl I've ever seen in my life. And I remember like walking in there, and she looked like she was Jane Kennedy. Wow. Or the lady from that Jamaica ad that's coming out the water. I was like, Lord Jesus. I was like, this is what's happening. So I get up there. As soon as I walk in the office, I start talking business. Yeah. And Andre was like, slow down. Andre was like, boy, you look just like your father, Harvey Jr. Because my father's name is Harvey McKnight Jr. Right. You look just like your dad. And I was like, he said, slow down. I know you want to talk about business. He was like, let me get to know y'all. Keep talking. We be talking and whatnot. I'm like, I know the clock is ticking. Right. I can't go back down to South Carolina. And my cousin Andre said, okay, I see my man is super professional. I'm going to get to you last. He looked at my brother. He said, what you trying to do? My brother was like, man, I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to do this. I'm da-da-da-da-da. Andre like, okay. He said, what about you? I said, I looked at the road you paid for Mary J. Blige, Puffy, Jodeci, all these different people. I've watched you produce films, TV shows, albums, hit after hit. I just feel like somebody like you, I can learn a lot. You're my cousin. I can be resourceful. I brought my resume to show you what I've done previously leading up to this point. At the time I'm like 20, 21 years old, so I hadn't done a lot. And he was like, okay. He said, at the end of the day, what you want people to say about you? I was like, if I could make one person feel the way Michael Jackson made me feel, I said, Michael Jackson didn't have to get bitten by a radioactive spider to be a superhero. Right. Michael Jackson didn't have to come from another planet and land on Earth to be a superhero. I said, he became a superhero right here on Earth. And I said, if I could mirror any of that in my lifetime, my life had meaning. And he was like, oh, nigga, you deep. Nigga, you deep. He said, okay. He said, how old do you get? And I think I was 20, 21. He was like, 21. Oh, he's okay. All right. He's like, let me talk to my mother for a minute. Right. He excused us. Came back in. He said, I'm gonna move you to New York. He said, you're gonna live with my mother. You got to learn how to take the buses from the Jersey to the city. You're an intern here, and hopefully something will stick, and this will be your home. And he looked at my brother. He said, my brother was like, I'm gonna give you some money, blah 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 blah. And my brother wound up going back to South Carolina because my brother was kind of like, he was crushing on a girl he had just started dating her. He was really smitten by her, and I was looking at him like,
you crazy.
You crazy. I give you 6 months with her.
Yep.
And it's a wrap. And I was like, we getting ready to get it popping. Literally, my brother went back. I stayed with Aunt Hattie, Andre's mother. I commuted back and forth from Jersey to Manhattan, learning the city, sometimes missing buses, sometimes trying to hang out in the city a little too long and miss a bus. Found myself sometimes sleeping on a bench. Telling that Hattie, telling that Hattie I'm sleeping at a friend's house. I'm sleeping in the subway station.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Helicopter.
Welcome to LA.
Mm-hmm. But I had to figure it out more than anything else. For me, it was about figuring it out. And it wasn't until Andre had a party at Tavern on the Green in Central Park. And it was an official white party. And I was walking, and it was funny because after I had moved there, I thought I was going to get thrown into the mix immediately.
Right.
I was interns for Kenny Burns.
Let me pause for a second. I'm going to do 100 style. Hold on, you're rushing this. Let's slow down a minute. You say you interned for Kenny Burns? Kenny Burns? Wait. Kenny Burns that does the Dream is Real? Kenny Burns? All right. Go ahead.
And the dream has always been real for him. Andre took the Kenny Burns. Kenny Burns was a young, at the time, Kenny might have been 23, 24.
Right.
Go-getter. He was in promotions. Andre was like, I'm going to put you with Kenny. Kenny's going to teach you the ropes. He's going to teach you how to navigate yourself. So I thought immediately I was getting thrown into the fly shit.
Right.
I'm boxing up records. I'm doing promo shit. I'm like, this ain't got nothing to do with the shit I saw in Ebony Jet. You know what I mean? It ain't got nothing to do with what I saw in Right On magazine.
Not knowing it does.
You know what I mean? It didn't from that standpoint.
Right.
But Andre put me in a position with somebody who was going to teach me.
Right.
I was going to learn from, and I was going to gain a whole body of an experience.
Shout out Kenny Burns.
Shout out Kenny Burns. First time I went to Howard Homecoming, Kenny Burns took me. First time I went to DC, Kenny Burns took me. First time I got my fly, I like to call hip hop outfit. Kenny Burns took me to Sports Authority and got the Phillies baseball jersey with the hat and the right sneakers and everything. And I remember Kenny Burns said, "Yo, you know Howard Homecoming is this weekend. You going?" I said, this is my first time coming to New York. I ain't been nowhere. And Andre saw me in the hallway. Andre said, "What you doing this weekend?" I said, Kenny Burns said something about Howard Homecoming in Washington, D.C. He said, "Oh, you need to experience that." And I was like, okay. He said, "Let me set it up for you." He said, "I'm going to tell my assistant to book y'all a car." At the time, the GMC Blazer was hot. And so we got the green GMC Blazer with the tan interior.
Wow.
And I remember Andre I went back to Kenny. I said, "Andre going to get us a car." And Kenny was like, "Okay." And I was like, he gave me some spending money. And Kenny was like, "How much he gave you?" I said, "He gave me $3,000. He said, "He gave you what?" Kenny was like, "You have to give me about 500 of that because I'm going to have to navigate you and make sure you're good and blah, 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 blah." I realized Kenny was running games, but it was working. It was working. So shout out Kenny Burns. I peeled Kenny Burns off some paper, and it was the best experience of my life. I met Kenny's boys, Sabe, Esai, all those guys that were just part of his clique that embraced me and showed me the way. And I had the best time of my life, man. I had a great time, first time in DC, and it was all because of Kenny Burns. And then I was seeing Andre in the hallway. And he was always with somebody, always talking about walking and signing something at the same time, or somebody interviewing him. And he would see me in the corner of his peripheral and be like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And he would walk away, and then he turn around. He was like, He give me cash. He would give me like $1,500 every day.
Wow.
Every other day. And he would give me money. He's like,
Wow.
you good? You okay? How you like New York? Yeah, I like New York. Have you seen anything? Not a lot. Okay, I'll talk to you later. And was out.
Right.
Boom. I had accumulated so much money. I had a shoebox just filled with money.
Wow.
I didn't know where to go to spend it because I didn't know the city like that. I didn't have a bank, checking account, none of that stuff. So I'm old school. I had a Nike shoebox.
Right.
One day I'm walking down the hallway. Andre says, yo, what you doing this weekend? I said, I'll probably hang out, where Hattie and Andre's brother Greg, who lived in Jersey. And he said, you know what I'm doing this weekend? I said, what? He said, I'm doing the white party. He said, I throw the biggest white party. So contrary to Puffy doing the white party, everybody know Andre, the first white party I ever went to, Andre threw it, Tavern on the Green, Central Park.
Wow. Central Park?
Central Park.
Wow, that's big.
Quincy Jones, Prince, Tamia, everybody you can imagine at this particular time in pop culture was there. And Andre was like, you need to be at that. And I said, you think so? He was like, you got an all-white outfit? I was like, no. He was like, here, take my Amex, go shopping. I didn't know, like,
killing me right now.
I didn't know, like, the white party was really, you had to have a whole white. I thought the white party would be predominantly white people. I didn't know what it was.
You meant
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I was like, what is this, really? I went to Banana Republic, and I bought a charcoal gray suit with black shoes. Andre said, listen, you can crash at my place. I got a place in the city. You can get dressed there. You will roll out from there. I got dressed, unaltered, sleeve hanging down to here, pants dragging down to here. Before I was a stylist, and Andre looked at me, and he was like, okay, all right. You'll figure it out. I remember the first person I saw was Puff at the party. Puff was like, that's what you wear? That's what you wear? Oh, yo, Dre, this nigga is twisted. And I was like, oh my God, crush. The person who encouraged me, because I found myself standing in the corner that night crying. I was so embarrassed.
Wow.
I didn't want to make him look bad. I was making myself look bad. He was going to look at me and be like, why even have this nigga come up here?
Right.
Biggie Small, God bless the dead. He said, yo, Shorty Doo-Wop, what's up with you? I said, man, I just messed up. He said, what you messed up? I said, I'm from South Carolina. I'm Andre's cousin. I just moved up here. I'm trying to impress him. I'm trying to, fit the part. And he said, what's going on? I said, look at my outfit. He said, you pretty fly to me. He said, I admire you for saying fuck all this white shit. You went with a whole different color.
Nice.
He said, don't never let nobody break your spirit. And I was like, okay. In that very moment, Michael Jackson, Billie Jean started playing. I made my way to the dance floor. I started dancing. Everybody was dancing, was looking at me. They built a circle around me. Everybody was looking. I remember Andre standing there looking at me. And Andre was like, and I walked away and I said, I gotta get back to Jersey because the bus said, don't worry about it. I was with my mother. You can stay in the city tonight. That next day, Andre came to the guest room. He said, yo, that was pretty bold for you to come out there and dance like that and get all that attention. He said, okay. He said, I see you fearless. And I said, I only got one shot. I said, I ain't got time to be scared to be afraid.
Right.
He said, all right. He said, get dressed. He said, come with me. We're gonna look at an apartment. And at the time he was living on 86th and Broadway above the Gap in a penthouse. And then we walked to 90th and West End between West End and Broadway. And when we got there, the doorman dressed like he was British or something. Was like,
right.
How you doing, Mr. Harrell? And I'm good. He's like, the keys down here? He said, yes, sir, the keys down here. He said, but the interior designer is upstairs. Interior designer, shout out to Sheila Bridges. She's dressed some of the most and designed some of the amazing homes in New York City. And we get up, and I'm hearing all this construction people. I'm looking at shit. I'm seeing motherfuckers hand painting shit on the floor. Wow. I'm seeing people hanging chandeliers in the ceiling. And I'm thinking we at like some kind of museum or some kind of up and coming gallery.
Yeah, right.
I said, what is this? This is my new crib. I said, well, you live down the street. He said, yeah, I'm selling that. He said, I just bought this. And I said, how much this cost? And this is like in the 90s. I think at that time it was like $9-10 million in the 90s.
Wow.
So I'm like, damn, this is crazy. We were looking around. I said, how did you get this place? He said, well, you ever see the movie The Addams Family? I said, yeah. He said, Raul Julia. I said, yeah. This was his place. He died. And he said, so I bought it. I'm renovating. I'm like gutting it out and doing it the way I want it to be.
Right.
So he showed me that's gonna be the steam room. This is the guest room. This is the da-da-da-da. And as we were walking toward the kitchen and the dining area, there's a room, beautiful room. He was like, this is beautiful. Did you like it? I said, yeah. He's like, it's yours. I said, what do you mean? He said, I already spoke to my mother. He said, you got something. He said, you're going to be something. He's like, I told my mother, I'm moving you from Jersey. You're going to be my assistant.
Wow.
And I moved right there. That was when it all started popping. That next week, I was in LA for the first time. The weekend Biggie got killed.
Really?
First time I came to LA. First time I was on a plane. First time I flew first class. First time I had a ticket to the Soul Train Music Award.
Really? Wow.
Andre gave me all his credentials and all his VIP because I could see the president of Motown.
Right.
So I came out here. Andre had a house off of Sunset and Doheny. When he told me I was going to LA, he said, well, you got to start moving and navigating. He said, I'm going to make sure you set up. I said, where I'm going to stay? He's going to stay at my house. I said, I'm going to LA. He said, nigga, I got a house in LA too. I said, what? He's right next door to Holly Berry. I said, what? I'm out. Let's go. And that's how I came to LA for the first time.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you right now in your day-to-day life honor that legacy? Not putting pressure on you as far as like you have to prove something, but just he did so much for you because he saw the vision and talent in you.
Yeah.
So how do you now, like, what do you do on day-to-day to like?
My day-to-day is trying to help people.
Right.
Give people advice. Entertainment business can be very selfish. And I'm not just saying it because he was my cousin.
Right.
He was not a selfish individual. If he saw potential in you, he genuinely wants you to win. And because of his experience and being so successful at a young age, if he saw something in you that he could help flourish, put some fertilizer on, he gave you the right seeds to plant in your field. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He told you when it was the best time to plant your crops.
Right.
Because he knew it was going to come in at this particular time. So I try to do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think sometimes I do it a little too carelessly because everybody, I won't say is fully worthy of the information. Sometimes people just don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So it's like you can't encourage a horse to be a stallion when he feels like he's a donkey.
Correct. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, I just try to do that as much as I can, empower people, create situations for people to grow and to thrive in their space. Because, I was fortunate. I always knew I wanted to be in the entertainment business. Initially started out as a dancer. I was a dancer at first. But, that being connected to Andre, and Andre never gave me anything.
Correct.
But what he did do was he said, here's 25 doors. There's a bucket of keys. Now, I don't know which key worked for which door. Figure it out. And most people don't get that. You know what I'm saying?
That is a good, yeah.
Most people don't get that. So for me, I got that. You know what I mean? He showed me the doors. Each one I went to that was locked, there was a bucket of keys. Now, it's about how long you want to dig in that bucket to find the right key. It might take a day, it might take 2 days, it might take a month, it might take a year, it might take years to find the right key to open that first door.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he gave me the bucket and he showed me the doors. And I've been unlocking those motherfuckers ever since.
Which led you to Russell, which led you to now Gushcloud.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that led me to being a celebrity stylist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Being able to style Jessica Alba, being able to style Puff, being able to style Robin Thicke, being able to style Cedric the Entertainer, JB Smooth, being able to style 112, Carl Thomas, you name it. You know what I mean? Mystical, you name it. I've been able. You know what I mean?
Bow Wow.
Yeah, Bow Wow, Jermaine Dupri.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Usher. You know what I'm saying? All these different people. Even though I outsourced and found out how to get there,
right,
I had a bucket of keys. You know what I'm saying? I had a bucket of keys. Most people don't get that. So in my lifetime, I just want to provide a bucket of keys. Find the key that worked for you. Unlock the door. Go in there. Make that your room. Make that your house. You know what I mean? And that's what it's really all about at the end of the day.
So where we are right now in the industry, how do you feel about the industry right now? You know, not just the music industry, but just, I don't know, I guess business in general. Like, has it changed? Is it different than what it was when you first started out? Is it what you expected it to be? Like, well, I know we all grow. We all grow as individuals.
We all grow, and it's about keeping up with the times. But no matter how we grow and how much we try to keep up with the times, I always try to keep a sense of integrity.
Right.
Not all money is good money. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, and my grandmother always told me, she said, sometimes you can be looking at a person, they have so much, you say, wow, they so blessed. That don't mean they got it from God. The devil can do the same thing God can do.
Yep.
It depends on who you want to follow.
Right.
You know what I mean? The devil can give you what God can give you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just about who team you want to play on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And some people choose different teams. And for me, I'm not the most spiritual person. You know, I converted to Judaism. But at the same time, I do believe there's a higher source that's navigating my life. There's a higher source that has placed me here to do what I do and exist in this time, in this space. I do believe that. And I think, you know, I stick to that script. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do anything else and be anything else but the best version of me.
Right.
I never felt like the competition of like a lot of people feel in the industry. You know what I mean? I admire people doing better than me. I admire people doing whatever they're doing, but I never looked at them maliciously or had ill will. I'm like, man, put me up on game. Like, what was your formula? Like, what did you do? How did you do it?
Right.
Everybody ain't like that. No. And I always say, if you can't look at a person who has more than you and they're doing it the right way and not admire that, then there's a problem with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, there are people that you know in your gut, they didn't get it right.
Right. You're like,
that nigga,
something right about
something ain't right about that. Yeah. You know what I mean? He didn't get it right. I don't respect that. But I do respect people who got it out the mud in a real way. They help people along the way. And they create this platform and foundation for other people to stand on. Because at the end of the day, I want to be in a space, I want to be in a room where 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 people say, man, I met O'Neal, he gave me this advice, I did this. I met O'Neal, he helped me get to this job. I met O'Neal, he put me in this position. Men, women, gay, straight, black, I don't care.
Right.
I care about how can I keep that legacy and that spirit of Andre Harrell going, of giving back to make better. Right. That's all I care about.
I strongly believe like how you start is how you end.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like you started the right way with the right intentions. I honestly believe it's a generational thing, because I think that's our generation. We had this drive about us,
Oh, yeah.
We didn't, I really feel like our generation didn't have stuff given to us.
Mm-mm.
We, like you said, we had a bucket of keys, and we had to figure out which unlocked which, and a lot of times it didn't work.
It didn't work.
We had to figure it out again.
Yeah.
Keep figuring out. And not to say anything bad about the kids today, but they just have so much information and they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, my whole thing is like, we're both Gen X.
Yep.
Imagine with our hustle, we'd have had Google.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? We from the encyclopedia era.
Encyclopedia.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And if you're, and I don't know what class you grew up in, we didn't have them in my house. My grandma had them. So anytime there was a science project, we went to my grandma Maddie Mae. Shout out to my grandma Maddie Mae for having the encyclopedias. And she was like, make sure you bring it back. Whatever the project was, we would borrow the encyclopedia. It wasn't like you go to Google, you get all this information.
Ask a question, voice it.
And voice it.
No.
You know what I mean? What's that shit you showed me the other day? It was like in GPT.
Yeah, that's a different game.
You know how many times I've used that since then? It's written my bio, all kinds of stuff.
Change the game.
Thank you letters. I'm sorry, people. It came from my heart, but it came from that program. Right. You know what I mean? Like
it's a tool. It's a tool to use.
It's a tool.
To help you with what you got. Let's say you don't have it in you. It just helps you along further what you gotta do. So we gotta use tools to use a knife in the kitchen. You use a cup to drink out. ChatGPT is that for the internet. You use it as a tool. To progress you forward with what you got. But man, wow, you have some amazing stories.
Man, my dream one day is I'm the modern day version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
Different from going to Bel-Air and coming from Philly. I came from South Carolina. My cousin was in the music industry that he dominated and created lifestyle and culture. And that's a narrative that I want to tell. It's a story I want to tell. And my story is about the dynamic between two cousins.
Right.
You know what I mean? And how the universe lined us up at that particular time. And I stressed it to my mother, God bless her soul, and my father, who I talk to every day. Shout out to Harvey Jr.
Shout out Harvey.
I remember they were a little hesitant about me leaving and going to New York. And they was like, well, there'll be another time. I'm a firm believer in if you're so lucky. Sometimes if you don't act now,
right,
that other time may never come. Right. Or when it do come, you done shifted gears. And it don't mean what it meant to you when you wanted it then. You feel what I'm saying?
I feel it line up. It lines up. Yeah.
I knew I was watching my cousin Andre. It was like, I didn't know what an algorithm was then, but it was his algorithm.
Right.
I had watched him like, okay, he producing these acts. Got Uptown Records, Platinum Plaques. You got Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, Heavy D and the Boys, Albie Shore, Guy, Soul for Real, Lost Boys, all these different acts. I'm looking at how and then I'm like, oh shit, he the president of Motown? This is where I gotta get in that mix.
Right.
I'm old enough now to be, a young adult to navigate. And I've read enough because I was a kid. I didn't read a lot of books. I loved magazines, and I love cultural magazines that told New York.
We're from the same era.
Yeah, New York City narratives. You know what I mean? I remember when I read so many magazines about restaurants and stuff, and I'll be telling Andre, we should go to this place to eat. Andre's like, nigga, you ain't even from here. And then we would go, he's like, yo, that shit was good. How you know? I read about it when I was living in South Carolina. This spot right here had the best Italian food. This spot right here, they slices of pizza just like the best in New York. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't fail.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't ever want to return home feeling like I failed. I didn't want to return home feeling like I didn't give it 150%. And I didn't want him to feel like he made a bad decision by allowing me, because I'm from a big family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm from a huge family. It's 100 other cousins that could have got this chance if they wanted this chance. I think I wanted it more than everybody else. I wanted to be where I'm at right now more than everybody else. You know what I mean? And I think he saw that. I think that we had a chemistry and a rapport. And I think that that's what really made our friendship, our brotherhood, such a unique and tight force.
So not to bring this down to like a bad or downer note, but how did you feel when you got the news of his untimely death?
Shit, I didn't get the news. I was the one who found him.
What?
Yeah, I didn't get the news. Andre had started working on the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden administration, trying to help secure the minority vote by using celebrity power.
Okay.
And so Andre was doing that, and he was consulting for them, and they had got him all this high-tech stuff and computers and stuff, and he's not like a computer savvy guy. He never was. It was like, if you read his texts and emails, it was like cryptic. You know what I mean? It was like Egyptians wrote that shit. You know what I mean? But I had spoke to him 2 days prior. Andre's the reason why I got a beard, because during the pandemic, I wasn't getting a haircut, I wasn't shaving. And he was like, damn, nigga, you can grow a full beard. I was like, yeah. He's like, shit, that shit look, you like a soul singer. You like Isaac Hayes or something. He's like, nigga, I'm telling you, when the pandemic is over, you should line that shit up. You should keep it.
Right.
He said, make you look taller. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that didn't happen. It don't make me look any taller.
Oh.
But I look good with a beard. And so during the pandemic, he called me one day and we were just talking. And he's, you know how to work FaceTime? I was, yeah, he's called me on FaceTime. He said, man, I'm lonely and I'm bored. And everybody's on lockdown. He said, call me on FaceTime so I can see you. He saw my beard. He said, damn, Isaac Hayes. He was like, you look like Isaac Hayes and Clarence Avon. And,
okay.
And I started laughing, you know. And he's, man, I miss you, man. He said, once this pandemic is over, you know, we're gonna get back to what we've been doing, you know, making these moves and blah, 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 blah. And he was super excited because he had a situation with a BET getting ready to tell his story. He had a book deal on the table. You know, he was going through the motions of the next chapter of his life. And so 2 days later, I hadn't reached out to him or spoke to him because I figured, you know, everybody doing what they doing during the pandemic. And Russell reached out to me from Bali and said, have you spoken to Andre? And that's how I spoke to him 2 days ago. He said, was he okay? I said, yeah, he was fine. He said, well, everybody's trying to get in contact with him and he's not responding.
Right.
Then Tracy Maitland from Advent Capital Management in New York, one of Andre's best friends in the finance game, he hit me up. So you speak to Dre? You spoke to Andre? I said, 2 days ago, he was like, yo, what's wrong with him? I said, he ain't responding to no texts, he ain't responding to no calls, blah, 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 blah. What is going on? I said, that's classic Andre. I said, the phone probably dead. He dropped it in the toilet, the bathtub or something. Andre put Apple on the map because he probably bought, he bought 1,000 phones.
Wow.
So I'm sitting down to have dinner with my kids and the family, and I'm just like sitting there, and something hit my spirit.
Right.
I said, something don't feel right. And Miriam was like, go with your gut. She was like, if you don't feel right, go with your gut. And this is when, like, we ain't even supposed to be on the streets, navigating, moving around. It's a lockdown, you know? And so I said, something don't feel right. As I'm going there, I called Andre's best friend, James Jenkins. Shout out to J Love. And our humor is not everybody else's humor. Our humor is, I called Jimmy. Jimmy was like, that nigga probably fell, bust his head, fell down a flight of stairs. You know, and we laughed. That's our camaraderie. And we laughed, but then there was a moment of silence where we was like, he was like, call me when you get there and make sure he's good. As I'm getting there, approaching his building, I called my boy DJ Cassidy. And I said, and Cassidy, who is just 1,000 questions. You can never call Cassidy and say one thing while him saying 1,000 other things. I called him, I said, yo, Cassidy. I called Dre, I text Dre, everybody's worried. We haven't heard from him. Something ain't right. For the first time ever in our friendship, Cassidy was like, I'll get dressed and meet you there. And that ain't like him.
Wow.
You know, Cassidy, like, I got to put on a secret blazer, my hat, and everything. He looked like pass the mic all the time.
Right.
But this particular day, he didn't.
Put a hoodie on, sweats, out the door.
I got to the building. The doorman immediately recognized me. Hey, how you doing? I said, hey, you seen my cousin Andre? Yeah, I saw him a couple of days ago. He was downstairs on the phone. He was out here catching some fresh air. But I haven't seen him since then. And he looked at me, he said, yeah, it's kind of odd. Something don't feel right. I was like, I need to go up there, check on him. They allowed me access. I got up there. The door was locked. He said, with your permission, can I unlock the door? I said, yeah, I unlocked the door. I walked in. When I walked in, the air felt thick. It felt like it was like it wasn't like sauna heat.
Right.
It was just dry air.
Because it was closed up.
It was closed up. It was like tight. There was like no windows open. And I walked around. I went in the kitchen. I saw where there was a little pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream on the counter. And it was like this. The ice cream had melted like water. Then I saw his phone on the table. I went. I touched the phone. I grabbed the phone. It was dead.
Okay.
Then he had a ring light on. So what he would do was he would sit down and tell all his uptown stories and his journey in the music business because he wasn't somebody to write this shit down. He was like, I'm better storytelling,
right,
and have it, and the writer would break it down.
Right. Makes sense.
Makes sense. As I'm walking, I see his glasses on the floor. His glasses, you ain't never seen him without glasses. That's his thing.
It's trademark.
That's his trademark.
Yeah.
His glasses on the floor. As I start to walk down the hallway, as I'm approaching his bedroom, I see his sneakers and his feet on the floor.
Oh.
And before I get to his room, I said, Dre. I said, Andre. Nothing. I walked up to him and I kicked in the bottom of his shoe. And when I kicked in the bottom of his shoe, his body was like, his whole body moved like it was a rock.
Wow.
And I walked around and he was laying like this with his face tucked into his arm. And his fist was balled up tight like this. And I said, Dre. I said, Andre. And I just stood there and looked at him. And I knew he was dead. He was gray.
Wow.
Like he wasn't like brown. He was gray.
Right. Yeah.
And I just stood there for a second. I just looked at him. And it's crazy because I didn't have an emotional breakdown then.
Right.
I wanted to know. I started looking around. Did somebody break in here? What happened? And then the doorman said, O'Neal, is Mr. Harrell okay? And I said, no, he's not. And he said, O'Neal, can I come in? And I said, yeah. And I remember him walking in. He was like, oh, man. He said, Mr. Harrell. He said, ah. And I said, I got to call his son. I said, I got to call his family. I got to call Puff. I got to call Russell. I got to call everybody. I got to people. He's O'Neal, take a breath. He said, you just hyper speed right now. Yeah. And as I'm walking out, I said, I gotta call my family. I gotta call my family. The first person I got on the phone was, I think it was Cedric the Entertainer.
Cedric. Okay.
Yeah, I called Ced. And Ced said, what? And I said, yeah, he did. Says, oh man, you know, and Ced he's just that guy, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a big brother. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you good? You need anything? That I said, yeah. I say, I don't know why I reached out to him. It's like, yeah, you know, some people use, you know, yeah. And so then I called his son, and he said, yo, you speak to my pops? And I said, Gianni, he did. And Gianni said, what? I said, yeah, he did. And everybody really started hanging up the phone on me. They went in the shop. And I remember going to the elevator, and as I went to the elevator, I started falling down. And the doorman grabbed me, and I said, I can't feel my legs. And he's, you going in the shop? I said, I can't move. Wow. And I was on the elevator, and I was leaning up against the guy. And when I got downstairs, Cassidy was down there. And Cassidy was like, is Andre okay? I said, nah, man. I said, he dead. He dead. And I called Alex Avon. Alex Avon, shout out to Alex Avon, who was dead. Then I called my friend Nathan, who worked with Andre. And then they all came. And it was a process. Dude, I must have got to his crib around 7:30, 8 o'clock that night. I didn't leave till like 3 in the morning. Wow. There was no paramedics. There was no coroners. Like, it was everything was on lockdown. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was the one who found him. And I was mad at him for a long time. For, like, nigga, why you put me through this shit? Why I had to be the one who find you? But my father put it in perspective. My father said he wouldn't want nobody else to find him. True. He would have want you in that state to be the one who find him.
He groomed and passed the torch to you.
Yeah.
Because he saw you.
Yes.
He saw him and you.
Yes.
And that's what, yeah.
Yeah. My dad was like, you don't be mad at him. Yeah. He was like, you wouldn't want nobody else to find him. He wouldn't want nobody else to find him. He wanted you to find him. And that gave me a sense of relief. Right. You know what I mean? Because we don't know how we're going to go.
No, none of us know.
We don't know where we're going to be.
Yep.
We don't know what time. We don't know who we're going to be around.
Yep. All we have is these conversations.
All day we have these conversations. Yeah. And so, I was humbled by that, having to find him like that. Because, like, to me, being born and dying, you're at your most vulnerable states. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you are, yeah.
Yeah. When you born, you don't know when you born.
You don't got nothing on.
You got nothing on.
You come out looking however.
Yeah.
And you go the same thing, yeah. Yeah, you're fortunate to have those around you who love you to make sense of that for you.
Make sense of that for you. Wrap you up. Put you, under that light to keep you warm when you first born. You don't know you don't know where you at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So yeah, it took me a minute to shake that. To shake that feeling.
I mean, yeah, your mentor and
oh my God,
family member
and it was crazy because a lot of people look at Andre like, wow, we lost a great music executive, we lost a great entrepreneur and visionary. I lost my cousin.
Yeah.
I lost my friend. I lost my mentor. Me and Andre and I would go over there, and we would snap on each other 24/7, like playing the dozens.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Like his sense of humor, his snapping, everything about him. And I feel like I came to New York with taste and a sense of style.
Right.
But he surely elevated it. He surely introduced me to art, fashion, style,
right.
Using your charisma as a black card to any room. You know what I mean? Using your mouthpiece to be able to talk and communicate and express yourself. He's the best storyteller.
I think our character is our currency.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, we're so caught up on getting the bag or the money and everything else around us, but really your character is your currency. And in fact, if your character can get you in the room and sit you down and talk and whatever, that's your currency. And people don't really think about that. Like, they don't think about how character development is so important.
No,
they're just rushing to get to that where that person is, but you don't understand. That person had to go through hell and back just to get to that point because that character building is so important. And that's one thing that even in the industry of music that I realized that a lot of people are talking about is that arts development, and arts development is personally what we go through character building. And people want to skip over that and just get straight to the money, and then it's like,
at the end of the day, you can make all this money, you can get the quote unquote bag.
Right.
How many people like you? How many people genuinely fuck with you? With the bag or without the bag? How many people gonna come to your aid?
Right.
How many people gonna be there for you? At the end of the day, what are they gonna say about you and your character?
What's your legacy gonna be like?
What's your legacy gonna be like?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Are you a good person? I mean,
are you a good person? You can sit on money all day.
All day long.
You can sleep in money all day long.
Yeah.
But how many people are gonna come and rally around your character?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
people, the stories are endless about the opportunities Andre created for people. The people he put on.
Still to this day, Usher, Mary J, Puff. I mean,
all that.
All
that started with a kid who had a dream who lived in the projects in the Bronx.
You see it.
And my mother told me a long time ago, she said, O'Neal, you're a dreamer. True dreamers dream dreams that are big enough for other people's dreams to come true. Dreams are never supposed to be self-serving. If you got a dream that's only going to benefit you, then that's not a real dream. Dreams are supposed to help other people's dreams come true. And my mother always taught me that. She said, make sure that your dream big enough to include another dream, that includes another dream, that includes another dream. Because that's what dreaming is about. And Andre had a dream that allowed other people's dreams to come true. I'm part of his dream. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm part of his dream. And even whether he knew it at the time, I think when he became an adult, he knew that his mission and his journey was instrumental to the growth of other people. And he took pride in that. He took pride in pulling people up. You know what I mean?
Right.
He took pride in, I walked in, he's having conversations with Jay-Z, with Leo Cohen, you know what I mean? With Alan Hughes, with Russell Simmons, with everybody, you know what I'm saying? And like, at some point in your career, you had a creative conversation with Andre about how can you take it to the next level.
Right.
And if you didn't, and he saw it, he gave it to you anyway.
Architect, that's what you do. You see it, and then
that's what it is. Yeah. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
You think there'll be a documentary on Andre's life?
I hope so.
We need one. I think the culture needs one.
I think the culture needs one. I think the people who are still here in this industry trying to pave the way needs it. I think there's just so much noise out here right now.
Right.
And I think that what people think is the thing to do ain't necessarily the thing to do. Is like, what are you doing it just for you?
Right.
Are you doing it for your people? Are you doing it for the community? Are you doing it for humanity?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we all want nice shit.
Of course. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day.
But like you said, okay, so I like nice things. You like nice things. We get it. We get the check in the mail. Check is on our table right now. Money's in our account.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? That's what I was thinking.
Now
what?
You know, Denzel said it best. It was an interview that was floating around on the internet where he said the Egyptians, he said they tried to take it with them.
Can't take it with you.
When you dig them up, what do you find? You find their jewels. You find some of their loved ones. You even find some of their pets. Yeah. Some Egyptians, when they died, they would bury their servants with them who wasn't dead.
Wow. Didn't know that.
They would bury their pets, things that they love, with them.
Can't take it with you when you go.
And 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years later, when you dig their ass up, the shit that was buried with them is still there. They couldn't take it with them to the next level.
Nope. Can't take it with you when you go.
You know what I mean?
You only pass it on to the person that's still here. What they gonna do with it? Like how Andre passed on to you, and you gonna pass on to the next person.
You live on by the information and the jewels and the wisdom that you bestow on people that would normally not have that information.
Right.
That's how you live on.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? It's nice to inherit a watch, a car, and money and all that stuff, but that will run out.
Some point in time.
It'll run out. Information can feed a nation.
True. So where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? Man, I got kids, got 2 daughters. I'm excited to watch them flourish and grow. It's so funny because, watching them develop in their path and seeing their personalities and being a dad and seeing myself in them and seeing some of the faces of family members that passed live again.
Right.
Watching my 2-year-old, she does this expression. My mom had this expression where if you gave my mom a compliment, she kind of got shy. She would kind of tilt her head. And she would get bashful. I would say, Mama, you look good. And boy, she would just kind of like get a little shy. She didn't want too much of that attention.
Right.
My little one, same way.
Wow.
I tell her, I said, oh, no, look at you. Your hair look cute. She do my mama expression. My oldest, Maddie, she's born on my mother's birthday. You know what I mean? She had the same birthday as my mom. Nice. You know what I mean? So it's just like the universe giving you a little bit of what you missed back.
Right.
In different places. And they show up. I'm a firm believer in the ones that we lost and the ones that really loved us and we love. They come back to let us know. You know what I mean? I look at I met this young lady. She was talking about her daughter. This was maybe a year or 2 ago. She was talking about her daughter and how much her daughter means to her, and she was talking about her daughter's personality. And she was talking about her daughter, but her daughter's personality sounded like she was talking about my cousin Andre.
Really?
And I just looked at it and I said, man, that's crazy. I say, her likes, her dislikes, and blah, 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 and this and that, da, da, da. And then I said, you don't mind me asking? I said, when is her birthday? She said, September 26th. Why? I said, that's my cousin Andre's birthday.
Wow.
And I was like, boom. In that moment, he came back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like my car. My car came off the assembly line on May 27th. That's my mom's birthday. The young lady who sold me my car, as we're doing the paperwork, she's like, oh, that's interesting. I said, what? She said, your car came off the assembly line on my birthday. I said, when is your birthday? She said, May 27th. I said, so your birthday and my car birthday is the same as my daughter and my mother.
Wow. Yeah, little things here. They're little gems.
Little gems that's like, boom. Let me just let you know, boom, I'm here.
Remind you.
Let me just remind you, boom. I was at a party one night years ago, and I was a backup dancer for Andre 3000 when they did the Love Below Speaker Box album.
Okay.
And all this time, we just gelled. I'm really good friends with Farnsworth Bentley. He's from Atlanta. 3000 from Atlanta. They crew. We went out. 3000 was like, yo, I'm getting ready to do this whole Love Below thing. We're gonna have on cardigan sweaters. We're gonna look like, preppy, blah, 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 blah. Andre's birthday is May 27th.
Wow.
He got my mom's birthday. You know what I mean?
Oh, Andre 3000.
3000 got my mom's birthday.
Okay. Wow.
Shout out to Andre 3000, Gemini. But just those little things. I was looking at the movie, the TV show Idol, that was short-lived with The Weeknd. Weeknd had a show on HBO called Idol.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, it wasn't that good. No. Sorry, but the actress, she was really cool. Johnny Depp's daughter.
Oh, that's Johnny Depp's daughter.
That Johnny Depp's daughter.
Okay.
And she just stood out. The best thing about the show was her to me.
Right.
I Googled her. She got my mom's birthday.
You're like, man.
I like, Mama, you remember,
Yeah.
She just, and it's just her letting me know that she's here, she's around. You know what I mean?
So,
get cold out here now.
I know, it's a little chilly. It's LA, huh? I'm getting used to it. So tell me a little bit about Gushcloud. Just, I know we've been here for a minute, so,
Gushcloud, Gushcloud is a digital company. We're kind of like the CAA, UTA, ICM of the digital space. We represent all these different influencers and talents, and we bridge the gap between East and West.
Okay.
Our main office is in Singapore. We have like 11 offices around the globe. I'm the business director for the one here in LA. We sign talent. We represent talent. We manage talent. We create these ecosystems for talent. We do a lot of stuff with Naomi Campbell, Snoop Dogg, his son Cordell, Amanza Smith from Selling Sunset, and a slew of other young people who I don't even know them, but they make a shitload of money because they do TikToks and viral videos. And that came into place because Russell Simmons met Althea Lim, who was the CEO of the company. He said, I met probably one of the smartest ladies I've ever met in my life. Show her around. She's going to be in New York. Excuse me. And we met, clicked. I became a consultant for the company. After consulting for like 6 months, I looked up, it was like over a year, and I was like, what are we doing? And she was like, I want you to be the business director. She was like, you know everybody, you can get in any room, and people respect you, and you have this great rapport with people, and it's just been beautiful. I've been, first time I went to China was because of them. I go to China and Singapore and Asia and Korea and Taiwan and Bali. I go all these places because of my work and that. But what I'm most excited about this year is, it's not every day you get a chance to work with your idols.
Right.
Working with Alan Hughes. Alan Hughes came to me about, producing stuff with him and being one of his producing partners and working with Defiant Media. And, he's part of the Hughes brothers, and their legacy is amazing, from Menace to Society, Black Excellence, the book of Eli, From Hell with Johnny Depp, Broken City. Alan did Defiant Ones. He just did the Dear Mama, Tupac documentary, Emmy nominated, Grammy nominated. We have a slew of projects that I'm excited about this year, lining up and just working with him, man. I can remember living in South Carolina and watching Brenda's Got a Baby video, and when Tupac runs up to the police line that they have blocked off, and he got on the UNLV jacket and the hat, and he trying to see over there, and right beside him is this guy, and I just, for some reason, Tupac and that guy that was standing beside him stood out, not knowing that was his director, not knowing that was Alan Hughes. Fuck that, not even knowing that one day he would be my friend, somebody I'm working with, somebody who I talk to on a daily basis about just navigating this new space that I'm getting ready to be in with him, with film and TV and things of that nature. And he's the last of his kind who tells that story. For anybody who's watched Dear Mama and his approach to the story, you tend to think, how much more can we know about Tupac?
Right.
You know what I mean?
True. A lot of stories out there.
But we haven't heard enough about his mother.
Right. True.
And that's a whole nother chapter, and their dynamic and how they bumped heads, but at the same time were revolutionaries, and how they pushed the envelope, and how they put their necks on the line for Black people and our culture and our voice. And so, I got a chance to work on that with him, doing some voiceover stuff for the movie and Pac and all that, and just all this stuff, man. I really believe that in life, if you allow yourself to be somewhat vulnerable to the universe and allow God to be present,
to be a vessel,
you'll receive all the presence that the universe possesses.
Right.
And all those things have been coming together, and I'm super excited about that. Super excited about working with him. A lot of projects I can't talk about. The obvious projects that have been in the news, the Snoop Dogg biopic, the Marvin Gaye biopic. He has a slew of stuff coming out. He did the Arnold Schwarzenegger doc for Netflix, and just really excited about this new chapter of creativity and these new worlds and new places to create with him through his lens. I'm super excited, and like I said, I met him because of Andre.
Yeah, we need an Andre doc for real. We do. I think the generation, its culture needs to see it because that's missing.
Mm-hmm.
I think COVID happened and then Andre passed, and it's like we didn't have time to not just honor him, but really celebrate.
Yeah, I always tell people, I feel like during the pandemic, Andre got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
He died at the height of the pandemic. He had a small funeral. I didn't even attend the funeral because it was in New York.
Okay.
I couldn't fly. Yeah. They wouldn't allow me. So, shout out to Chris Rock and shout out to Tracy Maitland and shout out to, Gianni, and shout out to Tracy Waples, and shout out to all those people who, who was there and was able to be there. Myself and Russell, Naomi Campbell, and a few other people. We had to do it via Zoom. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, the last time I saw him was the last time I saw him.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, through therapy and through talking about it, it's been a healing process because there have been so many more greater moments in my life, in my journey with my cousin than that final moment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Spend some time with him, get to know him.
You know what I mean? I lived with my cousin for over a decade.
That's a book.
Over a decade.
That's a book we gotta get written.
You know what I mean? I lived with my cousin for over a decade. I got a chance to see his idiosyncrasies, his personality, his growth, his everything. You know what I mean? I always tell people, I'm like, I've never had $100 million, never had $50 million. You know what I mean? But I got a chance to be there when that kind of money was made.
Right.
So your taste palette and your intellect is elevated by the company you keep.
Experience.
So when you're going to Tony Shafrazi's art gallery and Andre's buying Basquiat's and Warhols, and these are people that you didn't know anything about.
Bossy who?
Now you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you know. Hanging out with Sante DeRazio, famous photographers and people like that. You know what I mean? And all these different things, and hanging, in the car with Andre and Dick Clark. And you know what I mean?
Andre and Dick Clark?
Yeah, Dick Clark.
What?
Yeah. And hearing that conversation.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And being a young kid from South Carolina, and like, shit, I'm in the car with American Bandstand.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? For you youngsters don't know what that is, Google it. You know what I mean? It was Soul Train and it was American Bandstand.
Yep.
And they were the shows to be on if you are an artist presenting your music, performance, and dance.
Or to watch.
Every
year. Every year the Dick Clark New
Year's, all that. Dick Clark Productions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So just being around that, being in those rooms and hearing those conversations and, just being mentally and spiritually elevated.
I can tell how you feel because, many times I've been in rooms too with other people, and it is so much like you said, it's not like an envious thing, or it's more like a respect and just being honored just to be in the room.
Just to be in the room.
Just to sit and listen. Like, I don't need nothing from you. I don't need to be in the room. It's plenty enough for us to
come on, man.
That's it.
That's it.
Cat Williams.
Oh my God, Cat Williams. Listen, Cat Williams.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
How did you feel when you saw the clip? Any clip of Cat Williams, like what's going on right now with Cat Williams? How did you feel about it? What did you?
Well, I watched the whole interview, and the idea and the concept of sitting and watching a damn near 3-hour interview is crazy to me. The fact that we was talking right now for over an hour, we got to 2-part this shit.
Yeah.
Cat was entertaining. The thing about Cat, I don't know how much of what Cat was saying was true because I just don't know.
Right.
But all of it was entertaining.
But it's also about gatekeepers. You talk about, you know, going on in Hollywood. You know,
I do think there's a sense of gatekeeping in Hollywood, and you know, it's like sometimes people don't feel like there's enough room for everybody to eat. Definitely that. But you know, when you're talking about people I know, and I know them the way I know them,
right?
You know, Cedric is a dear friend of mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Cedric is a dear friend of mine. I met Cedric years ago in New York City. Him and Anthony Anderson, they were super cool. And literally, I never forget, because you know, because I was a celebrity stylist for a long time.
Right.
And this is when Twitter was Twitter and not X or whatever it is now.
Right.
And people would leave each other messages. And Cedric left me a message, said, "Hey man, I got a TV show coming up on the I think it was on WB,
yep.
And it was called Cedric Barber Battles. And he was like, man, I love your style. I'd love to talk to you about some styling and da-da-da-da. And I was like, this ain't Cedric the Entertainer. And left his number. I called you. What up, dog? This Cedric, man. You know what's going on? Hey, listen, man, I like the way you be dressed, man. You know the hats and shit. Man, we gonna do our thing. And I was like, oh shit, this is Cedric the Entertainer.
Right.
And he's like, listen, I'm gonna hook you up with my assistant. She'll get everything together. And listen, we're gonna shoot this show. And that to me says so much about his character.
Right.
Like he reached out, sent me his information. I called him, and we worked together on everything from his show to Pfizer commercials to ads to you name it. And he's my friend.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I can't talk about what I don't know.
The character of him is what you know.
The character of him is what I know.
Right.
And then what I know is him being super dope, super great guy. You know, that's my dude. But now, was Cat entertaining? Hell yeah. I laughed at a lot of shit I probably shouldn't have laughed at. But
I think we all did.
It's entertainment.
But I mean, Cat Williams said what he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though it might not be true, it's like I think it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
So he's still focused on a comedian stand-up situation when everybody he talked about, they're comedians by what we call comedians in a broad perspective.
I think
they're actors. They're like their personalities. Like
I think everything, a lot of stuff he talked about were people and how they started out in the game, but not necessarily they're in all. How can I say it? It's not their full bread and butter now.
No,
it's like a lot of those guys have elevated to do different things.
But you're still talking about being a comedian, which like said as an entertainer. He's everything but that. So he's not going on the road doing 60 shows and stand up.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
And even if
let me tell you, I've been to Say House. As soon as you get there, a giraffe walks across the lawn and a lawn. Yeah, I mean, he lives at Neverland or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
But again, I look at it like what we talked about earlier, right? With character and stuff, right? And our character be our currency. Even if Cedric Entertainer did what Cat said he did back then, whatever, right? Where he is now in his life, he doesn't have to go back and do that type of stuff because he's already in a position in life where he's comfortable, happy, and content with what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you talking about one thing and this man's doing a different thing. It don't make no sense. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. God bless them all. I'm trying to get some of that paper, help some people, build some new relationships, and and do some cool stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that let's just love and help each other as much as we can. Let's build something.
Build, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if Tom Hanks is mad at Ron Howard, he's probably never going to talk about it.
You never get hear it.
You're never going to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we got to be out here.
You know what I mean? If Ben Affleck is mad at Matt Damon, you're probably never going to hear about it. Yeah. It's never going to be trending. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, we just got to change our mindset. No disrespect to nobody. Whatever that person's narrative is, it might not be my narrative.
Right.
And might not be what I want to be a part of. But Cat was funny as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like I laughed out loud a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I mean, Cat just remind you of somebody you grew up with. You know what I mean? Like he just one of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We expect that from him. Like,
yeah.
You know what?
Shannon Sharp came up.
Yeah.
Was called Club Shay Shay.
Club Shay Shay. Oh man.
Oh, Club Shay Shay. You know what I mean? He's like, come on, now, Skip. You know, Club Shay Shay. You know what I mean? It was.
That elevated him.
Oh yeah, I don't even think that. I think Shannon Sharp is a great guy. I never met him before in my life.
Right.
But it definitely. Listen, he had a good week. You know what I mean? I'm sure the sponsors came in.
Good way to start a new year.
A good way to start the new year.
Yeah.
Club Shay Shay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Club Shay Shay.
Club Shay Shay.
Yeah. So this was a great interview conversation.
You gotta take a little sip of this. I don't toast you. Water's bad luck.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
You put that water. Well, some people do whiskey and water.
Yeah, because I'm driving too.
Yeah,
so.
you drive. All right,
cool.
It ain't like you get ready to drive cross country.
No.
Yeah, but no, cheers, my brother.
Cheers to you.
Appreciate you.
First episode.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Man, it's good. It's good.
It's gonna be a good one. I appreciate the conversation and the intimate time. And
oh man, listen. You know, first time I met you, like I said, I met you on the at the Beverly Center, and I was like, oh shit, we started talking, and shit. Right after that, I was on the cover of your magazine, and you know, shout out to Lennox and Parker. It's a black-owned magazine, and you know, everybody from myself to Fantasia to Erykah Badu, TLC, have graced the cover, and you know, in the era of magazines and things like that not really having legs anymore, this is a great publication that people should really check out and just support my brother, man. You know, he's doing his thing.
Appreciate it, man. I wanted to, you know, start this lifestyle brand, this magazine, and that's what I did. I wanted something that would be Black excellence.
Yep. And
we talk about Andre and talk to you, and I feel this is a great, you know.
Great
chemistry.
Now, where's your family from originally, like your origin?
Virgin Islands.
Okay, because I was wondering whether he was Ethiopian or Eritrean.
Oh no. I think because my dad's Indian. Like my dad's parents are from India.
Like Punjabi?
I guess so, but he's from the islands too. They came from India to the islands.
Gotcha.
And they're like Indians, right?
Yeah.
Or indigenous, I would say.
Yeah.
And then my mom's side is black and white and Asian mixed, all kind of mixed in. So when you have those two together, because I think in Ethiopia, that region of the world is like indigenous, Indian, and black. So that mixture gives you that what it is. So,
you know, most people probably think you Ethiopian
all the time.
Eritrean.
All the time.
Yeah.
But I'm from the Virgin Islands.
Got you. So, but I was like, this nigga Ethiopian. I was like, I'm trying to figure it out.
Nah, I'm from Britain. Yeah, but you know, we're Boston now, Atlanta now, LA.
How you liking LA?
Love LA.
Yeah,
I didn't want to go back.
I tell people all the time. I said, man, listen, I love LA. LA is good.
It's good.
You know, it takes some adjusting, some getting used to.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
I mean, I look at, like, I come from Boston, right, to LA. Moved out here in September. And I look at it like the cost of living is the same, but the weather is different. The price of gas is a little bit different in Boston, a little bit cheaper. But I wouldn't trade LA and you know, California, I would say, for nothing. Like the weather's this is winter.
This is winter.
We're sitting here,
and it's a little chilly.
It's a little chilly,
but it's still
55.
Our winter, he got on shorts.
Look, this is winter. So I'll take this over Boston and the you know, New England or the East Coast, which East Coast I still love because I grew up there my whole life. You know, like I'm like you. I saw the dream. I was in Boston. I used to read the Source magazine all the time.
Yep.
That's how I got started. Because Source magazine is what drove me to, like, one day I read a magazine, right? Yep. But the difference was that I'll pick up the Source magazine and read it from cover to cover in one sitting, and then I'll be like, "When's it coming out next?" I wait a whole month to get it. And then I saw in the magazine, you know, Rolexes and fancy cars and clothes, but they never told you how to get it.
They never told you how to get it. And I tell people all the time, I was like, you know, if you're not showing people how to get this money,
right,
then why? Because we're from the floss era, where everybody was flossing.
Exactly.
And everybody was talking about what they got, but not necessarily teaching you how to get it. And we from that era in the 90s ushered in a very me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I got all the bottles, I got all the girls. You stand on the outside of the velvet rope and look at us ball out.
Right.
That creates resentment.
And it doesn't show you how to get to that.
It don't show you how to, it doesn't show you how to get the money. It doesn't show you how to elevate yourself, elevate your people. And
Right.
I think that was part of the problem with the 90s and the music. And like, listen, it was some great music. But when you look at the videos, it's like, there's some videos where they showed the not so cool guy not getting the girl.
Right.
And she getting scooped up in the VIP area.
Right.
And blah, 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 blah. So I think that, where we are right now, it's really about just how we elevate and take people to the next level. I'm on my Instagram Live. I'm here with Victor. We're doing an interview in my backyard for his new podcast and his magazine, Lennox and Parker. I was privileged to grace the cover, and he's in the backyard right here and smoking cigars. He ain't smoking his, but I'm smoking mine, and sipping on some Japanese whiskey right now.
So that is?
Yeah, a little Japanese whiskey, and having a good time. Just talking about culture. We talked about, shout out to Ron Gilliard. I got to say about Ron Gilliard. Ron Gilliard.
Yeah.
And make sure this is in the interview. When Andre was out of town, because Andre would go on these sabbaticals, he would call, where you at? I'm in St. Bart's. I'm in south of France. Me and my girlfriend, we here. We doing this, we doing that. And I would have no money. So I would go to Ron Gilliard, and Ron would always give me money. I know I probably owe Ron $100,000 right now, at least $99,000, because Ron would always, look out for me and make sure I was good. So shout out to Ron Gilliard.
Ron.
We doing this interview in my backyard and talking about music industry, culture, and the journey. And
we're having a conversation.
Yes, we're having a conversation.
What we doing? Yeah. So the magazine. When I started the magazine, I wanted to focus on Black excellence, not so much the celebrity lifestyle, because everyone knows those stories. But I wanted to have stories that reflect the everyday person, behind the scenes, the person that really is doing it.
Yeah,
doctors, lawyers, stylists, And
that's what I loved about your magazine. Yeah. I love that your magazine had such an array different kind of people from different walks of life, whether it's music, whether it's sports, whether it's real estate, whether it's event planning. You always had just cultural things that continuously pushed and elevated us to the next level. And that was one of the reasons why I was like, I'm excited to do the interview and get down with the magazine, and excited about this issue. And it's gonna be fun, man. We got to share the wealth and the information.
Looking forward to it, man.
Let's do it. Happy New Year to everybody out there. I don't know if I was on have I been on here since the New Year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, right?
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
All right, my brother. One.
Thanks for joining us today on A Conversation with Tobias by Lennox and Parker. See you next week.